There was a young boy named Yusuf, before the well, before Egypt, before the prison, before the throne. There was a dream. He said to his father, "Oh, my dear father, I have surely seen 11 stars and the sun and the moon. I saw them prostrating to me." His father understood that this was not an ordinary dream. He warned him, "Oh, my dear son, do not relate your vision to your brothers, lest they devise against you a plan. Surely Shaitan is to man a clear enemy." That warning was the first sign. The dream was not only about the future, it was about everything that would have to happen before the future could arrive. But the story did not only begin in the sky, it also began inside hearts. The shared Hadith layer taught us that actions are judged by intentions, and every person receives according to what he intended. So before the brothers acted, there was already something forming. Before the well, there was envy. Before the lie, there was motive. Before betrayal became visible, it had already taken root inside. The brother said, "Surely Yusuf and his brother are more beloved to our father than we are, while we are a whole group. Indeed, our father is in clear error." Then came the thought, "Kill Yusuf, or cast him out to some land, so that your father's attention may be only for you." This is how darkness grows. It does not always begin with action. Sometimes it begins with comparison. One of them said, "Do not kill Yusuf. Throw him into the bottom of a well if you must do something, so that some travelers may pick him up." Then they went to their father. They asked for Yusuf. They promised to guard him. Yaqub feared that a wolf may eat him while they were unaware, but they insisted. So Yusuf was taken away, and when they agreed to place him in the bottom of the well, Allah revealed to him, "You will surely inform them of this affair of theirs while they do not realize." To them, the well was removal. To Yusuf, it was darkness. But in the decree of Allah, it was the first door. The noble son of the noble had been hidden from people, not abandoned by Allah. The brothers returned at night weeping. They said a wolf had eaten Yusuf, and they brought his shirt with false blood upon it. Yaqub said, "No, your souls have enticed you to something." So patience is most fitting, and Allah is the one whose help is sought against what you describe. This is where the story splits in two. Yusuf is hidden in the well. Yaqub is left with grief. One is tested in darkness, the other is tested in loss, and both are held by Allah. A caravan came. A water drawer lowered his bucket. He cried out, "Good news! Here is a boy!" Yusuf was pulled from the well, but he was not restored to his family. He was sold for a reduced price, a few silver coins. People regarded him as insignificant, but Allah knew what they did not know. The market lowered his price. Allah had not lowered his rank. The one sold cheaply would one day be entrusted with the storehouses of Egypt. In Egypt, Yusuf grew. Allah gave him judgment and knowledge. Then came the test in the house, the woman in whose house he was sought to seduce him. She closed the doors and said, "Come to me." Yusuf said, "I seek refuge in Allah. Indeed, He is my master who has made my stay good. Surely the wrongdoers do not succeed." Friday's Muslim layer taught us that beauty becomes a test, not only for the one who has it, but for everyone who reacts to it. Yusuf had been given overwhelming beauty, but beauty did not rule him. Pressure did not own him. Private temptation did not defeat him. His greatest victory was not public. It happened when the door was closed. The women of the city spoke. The scandal spread. Then they were gathered. Each was given a knife. And when Yusuf appeared, they were overwhelmed. They cut their hands and said, "Perfect is Allah." This is not a human being. This is none but a noble angel. The Hadith layer told us why this scene carries such weight. Yusuf was given half of beauty, but the deeper lesson is not appearance, it is reaction. Beauty revealed what was inside. People. Some saw and lost control. Yusuf saw and remained controlled. Yusuf said, "My lord, prison is more beloved to me than that to which they call me." So Allah turned their plan away from him. Then they imprisoned him for a time. This is where the Bukhari layer becomes powerful. The Prophet later said, "If I stayed in prison as long as Yusuf stayed, and then the messenger came, I would respond to his call." That comment makes the prison chapter heavier. Yusuf did not simply suffer delay. He carried principle inside delay. When release came, he did not rush out while suspicion remained. He wanted the truth made clear. So prison was not only confinement, it was dignity under pressure. Truth before relief, character before comfort. In prison, two young men came to Yusuf. Thought each had a dream. They asked him for interpretation because they saw him among the doers of good. But Yusuf did not only interpret dreams, he called them to Allah. He reminded them that judgment belongs only to Allah. He reminded them of the religion of Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub. Even in prison, Yusuf was not spiritually passive. He was teaching, he was calling, he was interpreting the unseen by what Allah had taught him. And then he told the one who would be saved, "Mention me before your master." But the man forgot, and Yusuf remained in prison for several years. Then the king saw a dream, 7 fat cows eaten by 7 lean ones, 7 green spikes, and others dry. No one around him could interpret. And then the man who had been saved remembered Yusuf. Yusuf explained the dream. 7 years of sowing, then 7 years of hardship, then a year of relief. The one forgotten in prison became the one who understood the crisis of a nation. So hidden one became necessary. The delayed one became the answer. The king said, "Bring him to me." But Yusuf did not rush. He told the messenger, "Return to your master and ask him what was the case of the women who cut their hands." The truth came forward. The women testified that they knew no evil against him. The wife of the minister confessed. Now, the truth had become clear. Yusuf left prison, not as a man escaping suspicion, but as a man whose innocence had been exposed by Allah. The king said, "Bring him to me. I will appoint him exclusively for myself." And when he spoke to Yusuf, he said, "Indeed, you are today established and trusted." Yusuf said, "Appoint me over the storehouses of the land. Surely I am a knowing guardian, the one sold for a few. Silver coins became trusted over Egypt's storehouses. The one forgotten in prison became the one entrusted with provision, the one hidden in darkness became visible in authority, but this rise did not create his nobility. Bukhari taught us that his nobility was already there. The rise only revealed it. Then the brothers came. Yusuf recognized them. They did not recognize him. The story began to turn back on itself. Those who once plotted in secret now stood, unknowingly, before the one they wronged. Provision became the doorway of reckoning. Wisdom moved quietly. Binyamin was brought. The stew cup was placed. The brothers were tested, and the old wound began moving toward exposure. This is the genius of the story. Allah does not only bring people forward. Sometimes He brings them back to the exact truth they tried to bury. Far away, Yaqub still grieved. His eyes became white from sorrow, but his hope in Allah did not die. He said, "I only complain of my suffering and my grief to Allah." Then he told his sons, "Go and search for Yusuf and his brother, and do not despair of relief from Allah. This is not ordinary sadness. This is grief tied to faith. A heart can be broken and still believe. A person can cry and still trust Allah." Yaqub teaches the modern Muslim that sabr is not pretending pain does not exist. Sabr is carrying pain to Allah. Then the brothers entered upon Yusuf in need. They said adversity had touched them and their family. Yusuf asked, "Do you know what you did with Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant?" They said, "Are you indeed Yusuf?" He said, "I am Yusuf, and this is my brother. Allah has certainly favored us. Surely whoever is mindful of Allah and patient, then indeed Allah does not allow the reward of the doers of good to be lost." That was the reveal. The one they threw away stood before them. Not broken, not bitter, not small. Favored by Allah. The brothers admitted, "By Allah, Allah has certainly preferred you over us, and indeed we have surely been sinners." Yusuf said, "No blame will there be upon you today. Allah will forgive you, and He is the most merciful of the merciful." This is one of the greatest victories in the story. Not the throne, not the storehouses, not the authority. The victory was that power did not make him cruel. Pain did not make him vengeful. Betrayal did not poison his mercy. The one wronged became the one who forgave. The shirt returned sight to Yaqub. The family came together. The old dream stood fulfilled. Yusuf said, "O my father, this is the interpretation of my vision from before. My Lord has made it true. And then the final truth of the whole arc becomes clear. Nothing was random. Not the dream, not the warning, not the jealousy, not the well, not the sale, not the test, not the prison, not the delay, not the rise, not the tears. Allah was subtle in what He willed, and what people planned was never greater than what Allah planned.